Pretty good, pretty good. You in a good mood today?
Pretty good. I'm a little tired. They've been, whipping me around and, having me absolutely twisting my arm and forcing me to have a good time promoting the picture. It's been terrible. It has been, actually, it's been upsetting my stomach a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Do you mind if I just kind of pull my chair back a little bit?
No. Feel free. Go ahead.
Originally, you're from Canada. Is that correct?
Close to the Arctic Circle.
Close
it took me a long time to even get out of there. They wouldn't even let me come further south. It was a problem.
Did you bring your dog?
I don't want to go too far south, Mike.
No. Did you bring your dog with you today?
No, my dog is beaten black and blue, poor fellow. He's a lovely dog. He keeps on being beaten by old women who are waiting on rooms and making beds.
Well, I was looking over the notes. You're the first actor I've ever met who's worked with both Lorne Greene and Martha Graham.
Yes, I imagine that is a first.
Now,
well, yeah, right. Lorne Greene, and you're right. Yeah.
What was that like? You worked at the Lorne Greene workshop in Canada?
He had a radio academy, and I was lucky enough to attend it. Lorne was my announcing instructor. He was my mentor, and later on we became very good friends. But he went to the neighborhood playhouse here in New York, and Martha Graham was a very dear friend of Mrs. Morgenthau, who was the director of the school, and she really was a labor of love for her. She just taught modern dance there. But, me in that little Jersey outfit, and I coming from the north, and, get into that and do what? Modern dance? What is that? I didn't even know how to dance anything else, let alone modern dance. But I studied with her. In the second year, I buckled down and I said, if you're going to learn to do this stuff, you don't pass it by lightly and with disdain because you think you're a macho man, I mean, I did have bow legs. People were laughing at me.
And you came from a macho family. I mean, your dad was a Mountie.
Yeah.
And now, do they always get their man, or was that PR?
Yeah. Well, we had reasons to look sidelong at him on a few occasions, but I don't think he always got his man.
Okay, it's your dad.
Well, it's the way it goes, We're in the north, you understand.
I do. It gets lonely up there.
Yes.
Those moose are hard to catch.
Terrible and not attractive at all. No, at a certain point, depends.
So let's fast forward to your days in live television, Playhouse 90.
Oh, yeah.
And was that an exciting time for you? I mean,
it was fantastic. Those, we do talk about them as being Playhouse 90, Studio One, Philco, Magnavox Theater in the early days here, in the early 50s.
Who were some of the people you worked with back then?
God, I forget. No, in those days, I was going to the Actors Studio, and the people at the studio who were working in television, Paul Newman, Tony Franciosa, Ben Gazzara, Joe Van Fleet, Kim Hunter, Joe Anthony, Carl Malden.
How do they look at being on television, which was kind of relatively new, a live television drama? Were they excited about that, or was that something like, well, television is something to pay the bills?
Not only were you excited about it, but it was like you had summer stock theater, but not too much of it. And but winter stock was long dead. So television really became the birth by fire. It replaced winter stock. It was a play. You had to learn your lines. You had to say them and do them, and it sort of replaced. It was a training ground.
I didn't know there was a winter stock.
There used to be winter stock. Yeah,
winter theater.
In other words, theater was all over. Of course, the movies I think made tremendous inroads on on that. But
is that how movie directors you first came to attention to movie directors by seeing you on television?
TV? On TV. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It was television. I mean, film something you aspired to? Was that what you wanted?
I was always trying to bring myself, to somebody's attention. And so it worked a little bit on TV, and excuse me, yeah.
My eyes are cheering up just a bit.
Mine already are. Where were we?
You were talking about your dad. No, you were talking about first breaking into films. What was the first movie you did? Do you remember?
I went out to Paramount to do Vagabond Turkey. They call it Vagabond King.
Yeah.
But it was the last of the great classical presentations, musical. And while I was there, I did a screen test for Forbidden Planet. And then I came back and under contract to MGM and did Forbidden Planet, which I'm delighted to have done. It's turned into a classic science fiction.
Do a lot of people recognize you from that? I mean, is that one of the films, because it's a big
they say, hey, I saw you, you're a lot younger than Leslie, your hair was dark, and it was never dark, it was maybe brown or so on. But that picture was the granddaddy of all the science fiction. It could have been the forerunner, the pilot for Star Trek, and it's as good today as it was 35 years ago.
Okay.
It is.
No,
I'll say that again if you like.
Now, when you were out in Los Angeles, did you prefer to be out there once you got into movies, or was television something you always wanted to keep in touch with, or, you know, I mean...
Well, people have asked me which medium I prefer, whether it's stage or TV. I love television, and I really have done a lot of television shows. But it was really only after doing comedy, after doing Naked Gun, and even Police Squad, but Naked Gun mainly, and it suddenly dawned on me that I did have a preference. I used to say, it makes no difference to me wherever the medium is, that wherever the material is that has meaning to me, that's where I'll go. But I prefer comedy. I prefer movies because of comedy, because you can do a little thing with your eyes, and it works. And you don't have to make it any bigger. So somehow you can be realer. You can be more credible, I think, on movies. And anyway, that's my preference. What was the question?
Yeah, there was... Yeah. Now, but you usually played heavies. I mean, I remember watching television.
I played a lot of heavies.
You played a lot of heavies. And Airplane was the first comedy that, you know, I remember seeing you in.
Well, it was the first one that you would associate comedy with me. I had done one MASH before then. But I always had fun behind the camera. You know, I was always laughing, always having a good time. Really, in a sense, always doing comedy, but I didn't have the guts to do it in front of the camera. Well,
what made a difference when, you said you did a MASH, but in Airplane, where you have to be on screen for a couple hours, and you and Robert Stack and Lloyd Bridges were kind of parodying characters you had played, I guess, from the 60s and 70s in television. What was that like for you when they came to you and said, hey, we want you to be funny for 2 hours?
Well, you know, to be in the film, to be invited to be in the film, was my secret yearning. I never told anybody because I didn't have the guts. But because they came to me with the comedy, they say, we want you to do the part. And I said, well, okay, I'll do the part, you know, but if I'm not funny, it's not my fault. You asked me to do it, you know, I mean, but I'll be happy to do it. Secretly underneath, they say, oh, boy, I'm going to do a comedy at last. But I never made the effort. I never went out and said, I want to do comedy. I never asked for anything about comedy because it was too special to me. And I didn't want to put it to the test.
When you were, was there a lot of improvising on the set? I mean, you watch Airplane, it looks very loose and carefree, but was it like
none, that? Absolutely none. Especially an Airplane. That was like word for word, preposition for preposition. I mean, very precise. And of course, they had spent, David and Jerry Zucker and Jim Abrams had spent a great deal of time writing that, and they had written many things before. But it has been written to a rhythm and written in accordance with how they think it will play and be funny. And any minor change, as you know, you can change some little thing, and the laugh is gone. You can't, if you preface something and you say, and then start to say it, the laugh is gone, instead of going straight to it. Oh. I don't know if I can give you an example.
No, when we come back, can you give us an example? Think about it for a while? Maybe Barbara can help you?
Sorry,
okay. We'll be right back with Leslie Nielsen after this.
Thelma and Louise, one of the truly great films of the 90s and one of the most entertaining films ever made. Start counting the Oscars. Susan Sarandon, Gina Davis, Thelma and Louise, rated R, now playing at a theater near you.
It melts.
All guests of Night After Night are ensconced in the Mobley Hotel. If your idea of a presidential suite comes complete with cable, minibar, pillow mints, and concubines, then the Mobley's the place for you. Home of the bottomless cup of Tang, it's the Mobley Hotel, now with soap.
Hi, welcome back to Night After Night. I'm here with Swamp Fox, Leslie Nielsen. You were the Swamp Fox, right?
I certainly was, yeah.
You remember the theme song?
Swamp Fox, right to the ground.
No, tail for a hat. Everybody knows where the Swamp Fox at. Swamp Fox, riding through the glen.
Nobody knows where he'll strike again. Something like
or no, he runs away so he can strike again, but basically you were running.
You see, he's telling me, and he knows. Yeah, I've forgotten. There's so many things I've forgotten.
Are there, what is the one thing that you've forgotten?
I've forgotten where the Mobley Hotel is.
Well, you're staying there.
Okay. Well, the last time I was there, Gary Collins was running up and down the corridor.
Was he running alone?
I don't know. I don't know who owns that, but I would like to see the papers on it.
Now, do you know Gary personally?
Yes, I do. I think he's wonderful. Yeah.
Now, how does he feel about the Miss America thing? Regis and Kathy Lee are going
Carefully.
in. What?
Carefully. I don't have to make sense, do I?
No, I guess I was asking for it, I guess. A man who brings a little...
I don't really know. You're... Okay, now we can start over.
Okay.
It's a wipe.
It's a wipe?
Well, you know, like this.
Oh, like that. See, I work in television. We don't do that.
Okay,
I can't do that stuff. Now, did you enjoy working as a Swamp Fox? Because that's what I remember as a kid.
You know, when I first began shooting that, so me with this hat on and with that fox, oh, come on. I mean, I'm...
With a what?
A foxtail.
Oh, foxtail.
Foxtail on my... I mean, there were things... Ibsen, you know, Enemy of the People, Arthur Miller, Death of a Salesman. There really significant dramatic works to be done, and I'm doing Swamp Fox with a tail on my head, and so I approached it kind of, you know, dragging my feet, and what am I doing? And to be frank with you, I really thought that there was supposed to be much better things for me because I was being very judgmental and very, very serious about my work in those days. And finally, about halfway through, I say, hey, Leslie, you signed your contract, and you're taking somebody's money, and I had such a tremendous respect and admiration for Walt Disney, and I say, you can't do this. You can't find. You get in there and do it properly. And then I turned around, and there's so many people who remember that, remember Swamp Fox too, and I really enjoyed it then. Yeah.
Have you ever reached a point in your career where that happened again? You know, like, hey, what am I doing? You know,
where you do something and you want to, when you're going to work, you want to find some ways to stop from throwing up.
Exactly.
Yeah, kind of. There were a few. But the way I've always looked at things, if you ain't working, you ain't an actor. And it's not my job to, my job is to just go ahead and do it. And if I'm a plumber, I don't want to just do my plumbing in Beverly Hills bathrooms. Do your job and keep working. That's where it's all at. And so I never, after that, let my temperament or my judgmental values about my work enter into it. I just did my job.
Now let's talk about Naked Gun 2.5.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you're getting into the PR mode now. What is it? You're not happy with the film? That's what I've heard.
I love it. Are you kidding?
I'm just teasing out. I'm just kidding you. We got a clip here. We're going to roll this. You want to set this up for us? We got a clip, right? Do we have a clip?
No clip, sorry.
No clip. No clip from Naked Gun 2.5 because the movie is so hot. If they just tease it a little bit.
Why can't we do a scene from it then?
What?
Why don't we do it? You and I will do a scene from Naked Gun.
All right.
Now, I play Frank Drebin.
Okay, Frank.
So, and the scenes I enjoyed the most were with Jane. You don't mind playing Jane, do you? Jane Spencer? Priscilla Presley's part.
Oh, Priscilla Presley. I'll play Priscilla,
you can do it, yeah. Now, this is the thing. She has left me, and I haven't seen her for 2 years.
Okay.
And at this investigation in Washington, D.C., she's the only witness, and George has tried to prevent me from questioning her because he knows that we'll have this, he's going to spare me the pain.
Uh-huh.
But she's across the room, and all of a sudden, I see her.
Okay. Okay, all right, let's...
I'm doing it. I'm doing it now.
All right, you're here, but I got to set this up. This is my show. Here's a scene from Naked Gun 2.5. Frank and I'm Jane. Okay.
Yes, you're Jane.
Okay, let's go.
All right. I turn, I see you now. There you are. I say.
So this is comedy and drama here, right?
This is comedy.
Okay.
Jane.
Frank.
How are you?
I'm good, Frank. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. How are the children?
Frank, we don't have children.
Oh, yes, of course. That's it.
Naked Gun 2.5. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Did you have a feeling that you don't do...
You know, Elvis called me this morning.
Oh, yeah?
No, I'm sorry, I'm in character again.
He's a comparison shopper in Portland, I believe.
How is it working with how is it working with Priscilla Presley?
She's wonderful.
And she's turned into a good actress.
She's very talented, very funny, very talented comedian. And but she's a very elegant, classy, dignified lady, grandmother, too. And can you believe it?
No, probably the sexiest grandmother
Boy, I tell you.
alive.
But,
Did you talk about Elvis at all?
No, we don't.
Okay, I'm just,
And
we're
I
just
never-
trying to dig up dirt. I'm
Yeah.
trying to be Joan Rivers.
No, I don't ask. And but the nature of the comedy being this kind of, I think Naked Gun, the first one and 2.5, they're so dumb and they're so stupid. They're wonderful, and to do all of those ridiculous, insane things it kind of frees you. And I think it's that mold of elegance and class that Priscilla has that she unwinds now. I remember mentioning it on a talk show we did together, and she says, "Yes, that's right," and she feels freer, as I do.
Do you, whose idea was it to do the trailer like that? Probably one of the
No,
films,
that's David Zucker, and but he is fertile. You know, David's over the edge. He's really gone. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. They asked me, will there be a Naked Gun 3, or 3 and 33 and a third, or whatever? And the humor is addictive, but the biggest addict is David. And I just don't see him leaving it alone. He'll have to get to it again somewhere on the line.
Well, listen, we're out of time.
Oh.
You're going to London to do the Rock Awards show?
Yeah.
You're gonna host the Rock Awards show?
Alice Cooper's going to be there.
Oh, Alice
That's
Cooper.
Princess Stephanie and
Oh, that's-
Townsend and who are they?
The Naked Gun 2.5 opens June 28th. Catch it. It'll be a lot of fun. Leslie, thanks for being on the show.
Just a pleasure. Thank you.
Come back and see
Right.
us. We'll be
Thank
back after this.